this week's episode.
Oh, hello. It's a me, Sketch.
And it's a me, Shades.
And this is Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. Welcome back, longtime listeners.
Great to be here.
Guys, you caught us. This is a little embarrassing. You caught us in the bathroom.
Yes, both of us.
GOCO set up this week.
In our Brooklyn apartment.
In our Brooklyn apartment,
yes. And we are ankle deep
Yeah.
in backed up shower
Yeah,
water.
we've been out of the apartment for, how long's the show been going on? Year and a half?
Like, two years.
It's impressive. It's only backed up to ankle deep.
Yeah.
But here we are.
It's not very responsible of us,
We're
listeners.
Trying to unclog our tub drain.
I think I.
Oh, you got it?
Something's here.
Oh.
What the what? Who's this guy?
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario.
Please leave, sir.
Take one step.
Why are you in our bathroom?
The Mario all together now.
I guess that's our theme song this week.
You got it.
Perfect.
Sure.
All right, guys, if we were accosted by an overweight, middle-aged Italian man in our own bathroom,
It means we must be talking about
we must be talking about the
1993
1993
Super Mario Brothers movie.
live action
Mario.
Brothers movie that's 25 years old at this
Guys,
point.
just wow.
Yeah,
Just wow.
yeah. We had to get to it.
We did.
We had to get to it at some point. And
I
here
would
we are.
say the best part of our history with this sketch would everything that we went through to be able to watch this movie.
Yeah. It is surprisingly difficult to find this
Yes,
movie.
it is not streaming anywhere.
Okay, you know what? It's surprisingly difficult and surprisingly easy because when it came right down to it,
Oh yeah, all we had to do was pop
YouTube
onto
it.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And the whole movie was there in 11
uploaded
parts.
for free on
Yeah.
YouTube. So
Yep. And no one was clamoring to get that taken down.
if you want to watch this movie,
You
and
can-
I do not recommend
know.
that you do, but if you want to watch it, just YouTube search the Super Mario
Brothers
movie, and there you go.
If you search on any platform, just Super Mario Brothers without the word movie,
You
will
get a lot of gameplay.
people just gameplay.
Yeah, Which I mean, I know
I'm
that's
not
Twitch,
surprised.
but I didn't know that they were streaming on servers like that now. So, guys, if we're talking the Super Mario Brothers a movie,
Spoilers for
that
the movie.
piece of shit. I mean, for that movie,
any of the cartoon series that we
any
might have
of the
seen,
games, the many games. There are more games than I've ever played, so
Yeah,
I will not be
likewise.
spoiling all of them. Perhaps our childhood with our
yes.
consoles.
Spoilers
as-
for our
as
childhood
we grew up.
console gaming experience.
And the night we had last night.
Yeah.
Spoilers for that.
And
like,
we did roll tape on our viewing experience. So if there's anything,
if there's anything good,
we'll pepper it in here and there.
yeah, sure.
Sketch, before we get started today,
Yeah.
just a note from our sponsors.
Oh, yes.
Yep. The worst thing I've ever done in my life. Geeking Out is brought to you today by the worst thing I've ever done in my life, courtesy of Bob Hoskins' Mario Brothers movie.
Wow.
And we're back.
That's a
It's a glowing endorsement.
that's a potent statement. Shades.
Yes.
Of Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. What is
Sketch
your
of
history
Geeking Out with Shades
with
and Sketch.
these two Italian plumbers?
I had an original, I guess we call it the command deck now, the NES, the Nintendo Home Entertainment System. I think I got it in like 87.
Okay.
And I got the pack that came with the Orange Gun, Duck Hunt Mario combo.
Yep.
And I have fond memories of playing that game. I don't think I ever advanced past the level with the they were like the hanging platforms that fell. Like I never beat that world, but I did get to the warp zone and played the last levels.
Yeah. It got hard
It
for a
got
child.
very hard, like especially once you get to like Bullet Bills and the Hammer Brothers.
Very difficult.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Frustrating experience. Followed up with Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yep.
Which I loved.
I loved Super Mario Bros.
I'm
too.
just going to come out and say I think it's my favorite game. I recognize it was not a real...
I hope you mean Mario.
Yeah, my favorite Mario game.
Mario... There was a different game, and then they slapped the Mario motif on top of it.
I love the story of that game.
Yeah,
and there was a different Mario Brothers 2 that was much more closely reminiscent of the original game that was released in Japan.
Yeah.
And eventually made its way to the States when they released maybe it was like Mario Arcade on the Super Nintendo.
Maybe.
And you could play the Japanese Mario 2. Most American audiences hated it. It was just too hard.
Yeah.
It was like purposefully hard.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't play the game. It wasn't fun. And Japanese audiences loved that.
Purposefully hard.
Says a lot about our
good shirt.
Yeah, purposefully hard.
Yeah. Go shades of sketch.
Wow.
Got to get on the
Yeah,
shirts.
we do. We got to write these down so we can work on that.
Well, they're saved forever into the ether of digital media.
I was thinking again, like late last night, they're like when we're gone, there will just be days, years worth of our voices just out there in the ether forever.
Yep.
It's a comforting thought.
It is. Can I take this moment? This episode's going to be broken up a lot by just random thoughts.
Sure.
Because that movie was really just
very
it's
it's a fitting homage to the experience of the Mario Brothers movie.
Just it has nothing to do with Mario Brothers, but it has to do with our voices lasting for forever. I would like you and I to raise a glass.
Sure.
Click them together to opportunity.
To opportunity.
Guys, as of this recording, our beloved Mars rover, Opportunity, has
left us.
Has given its final transmission.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
An amazing achievement of engineering and ingenuity.
Held together by like 300-year-old knots and rope.
I mean, just...
amazing. Lived well past its life expectancy.
Well past its expectancy. How often can we say that these days, that something lasts?
Yeah. And killed by the most severe storm in recorded Martian history.
So Opportunity, this one's for you.
Yep.
And we'll be up there.
Yep.
We're going to get you.
We're gonna bring you home.
We're coming to get you.
Leave no bot behind.
Yep. And thanks for all you did.
Yeah.
Anyway, back
very fitting. Back to
this episode.
We now return to Super Mario Brothers movie.
Pile of shit. Yeah. Any other history before I launch into my history?
I gleefully watched the Super Mario Brothers Super Show every morning before going to school. It was on. I think it was on like 6 a.m. As I ate my cereal. I'm talking about like the live action Captain Lou Albini. That was intercut with shorts, animated shorts. In subsequent seasons, they cut out the live action. But man, I ate that up. I remember. I guess probably like 88 or 89 it aired. Ghostbusters 2 came out, and they had an episode with Winston showed up.
No.
Yeah, full gear.
Nice.
That was a fun episode. It's like a memory from my early life.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the cartoons. And I mean, this movie, I'm pretty sure I saw it twice in theaters.
Brag.
Yeah. And, I enjoyed it enough.
Well, it came out in 1993. There's really nothing else to go see in theaters.
Except like some of the greatest movies ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, hello.
Wow, that was very good.
Thank you.
Did not see Jurassic Park in theaters, but saw Mario Brothers twice.
Yeah. That is quite,
that says a lot about me as a person.
That should be a bumper sticker.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw Super Mario Brothers twice. Sketch, what's your history with Mario?
I also had the NES system. Probably got that right around the time my sister was born. So I'm going to say 89, 90. I got that system a little bit in that area. So it came with Mario and Duck Hunt. Played Mario.
You had the same kit?
Yep, same kit that you did. Played Mario a lot. Warped around a lot. Yeah. Played different levels. Never beat the game.
Nope.
It was a challenge. I mean, did NES games
I got
were
to the
hard
final
stuff.
level, But I mean, I would just die instantly. You couldn't save in those games.
No, you couldn't. Days. You start from scratch. Played Mario 2. Loved Mario 2. Really liked it. It was such a departure.
I loved that all of the different characters had different attributes.
Yeah. Who was your character?
I loved playing as Luigi.
Luigi was great. He was my number 2. Peach was my number 1.
Okay, because
she could float.
The float.
That float was just irreplaceable.
What was the advantage to playing as Toad?
There was no advantage to playing as Toad. No, I don't remember what Toad could do.
I don't either.
I don't think I ever played as Toad.
I remember getting you'd get the vials and you could put them on top of the clay jar and go to the negative world.
Yeah,
I just loved doing that.
Yep.
Running behind the level and finding another one and skipping ahead to the end of the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
I never had a Super Nintendo, so I didn't play.
I also never had a Super Nintendo.
Any of the Mario games that came out.
I didn't either.
Super Nintendo. I also didn't have Mario 3. I don't know if that was on Super Nintendo or
it was on original. I had Mario 3.
I didn't have Mario 3, so I missed out on Raccoon Soup Mario.
I loved that. And, Tanuki Mario. You could
Yoshi started in Super Nintendo, right?
It was called Super Mario World. Yeah.
So I missed out on Yoshi's debut and all of that. I probably didn't play a Mario game again until N64, where I played Mario 64.
Yep, and I played it. I never had it.
Thought that was a great game. Really amazing for its time.
I remember you playing Mario Sunshine in college.
Played Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. It was a weaker Mario game, but it was still fun. And then pretty sure I played some Mario Odyssey. Don't know if I had it or if I borrowed it from somebody, but I did play some Mario Odyssey. Might have beaten it. Not super memorable. Some really neat mechanics in it, though.
Luigi's Mansion.
I never played Luigi's Mansion, and I'm not surprised you love Luigi's Mansion.
And at Dave & Buster's, they have an arcade version, which is just fantastic.
Has the sequel come out, or is that just something they keep teasing?
Part of me wants to say it came out, but they've launched and recycled so many systems at this point. I don't know what's happening with Nintendo.
Mario,
I had a Wii. I didn't get a Wii U. Didn't get a Switch.
I had a Wii. Yeah, I didn't get either of the additional ones.
I'm done. The systems, they're recycling systems too quickly for me.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yep.
Also played Donkey Kong, original Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, Jumpman. Mario was Jumpman.
I also played Dr. Mario, which was just Tetris
Dr. Mario.
game.
Yep. You know what I had?
What did you have?
There was a version of the Mario Brothers on the Atari, and in Mario 3, there was if you ever saw the Mario arcade game where you versed each other, Mario and Luigi, there were the POW things that you could jump on.
Yeah. That
was in Mario 3, and I had that game on Atari.
Yeah, my friend had Atari. I remember playing that. So that's my Mario experience. I mean, there's so many games with Mario.
Right.
You'd be hard pressed to play all of them. I do play Super Smash. I don't have the new one because I don't have a Switch. But guys, you have my address if you want to send me a Switch.
Yep.
Mario was never my character though. I was always Link.
Yeah, I was always Captain Falcon.
Yes, you were. Yeah,
we were quite a duo with those characters too. They complemented each other well.
Yeah. As far as this movie goes, I did not see it in theaters, but I did see it at some point in my childhood. I have memories of seeing it probably when I was 11 or 12, somewhere in that time, VHS, at my cousin's house or something.
I remember seeing this on television a lot.
Okay. And that's
it. Great TV movie.
I never saw it again after that. I remember being disappointed as a child because I had very clear expectations of what Mario was going to be, and it was not Mario. And so I never watched it again until last night when we watched it. And when my wife heard that we were going to do Mario Brothers, she said she has very fond memories of it.
Yeah.
And grew up wishing she was Princess Daisy. Yeah.
Cool.
So
I'm with her on this one.
You're with Mrs. Sketch?
I am with Mrs. Sketch on this one, and I have fun. I recognize that it's a terrible movie, but there's something about it that I can't even put my finger on that I love about it. I have fond memories of it, and full disclosure, I'm the person who pushed for this. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers who voted for it, that we got to do it. And I'm glad we did. And
no, I'm happy we did it.
But I can recognize that it's bad.
It. Yeah.
And I like something about it, and I don't even know what it is.
You do. You like that dystopian dinosaur
You know, I do. I like the
motif.
There's a great movie buried in there somewhere.
Sure. Real buried.
Should we do a little history?
A little history?
This is a big hit.
This movie has
This is one of the best stories.
A better developed history than it does
a movie.
Yeah. All right.
And I've condensed it significantly.
Good. Thank you. Lay it on.
So, inspired by Super Mario World and elements of fairy tale lore, screenwriters Parker Bennett and producer Roland Joffe were given free creative license by Nintendo to create a subversive comedy with weird and dark aspects in the vein of Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So the way they got this movie, they went to Nintendo. Every studio was vying for Mario. It was the biggest game franchise in the world.
You think of 93, Nintendo is crushing it.
In 1993, Mario and Nintendo are bigger than Coca-Cola. They're the most recognizable franchise on the planet.
Yep.
And they convince Nintendo that going with a small, independent studio would give them more control over the film.
Mm-hmm.
Disney wanted it. Fox wanted it. Universal wanted it. Paramount. Everybody was vying for this.
Promised to be a big cash cow.
Yes. And the way the producers swayed Nintendo was that they were the only people willing to give them the merchandising rights to the film.
Mm-hmm.
So it cost Nintendo nothing to make this movie. And any toys or merchandise that they did sell for the film, they win.
Yeah. It's a win-wash situation.
Yes.
There's no lose for
and
Nintendo.
Nintendo, on their part, very smartly reckoned we're the biggest franchise in the world. The brand will survive this American experiment. Yeah. So we don't care. So Nintendo had no interest in having creative control over the script or the film, and they hands off.
Yep.
Now, this is the fatal flaw of the movie, however, because the producers had no investment capital with which to make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They created a stellar script that, when read by the actors, immediately signed on to it, with the exception of Dennis Hopper, who shamelessly said, I was paid a buttload of money for this movie, so I made it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like Bob Hoskins reads the script and signs on. John Leguizamo, in his autobiography, famously said, I turned down a part in Philadelphia, which is like the movie that turned Tom Hanks into a dramatic actor. He was supposed to play he was auditioning for and got the part of Tom Hanks' character's boyfriend in Philadelphia. Okay. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I've not seen that movie.
It's 1993. It's a story about the AIDS epidemic in America. It's a very difficult movie to watch. And the crux is like it takes place in a courtroom largely, and he is the defendant dying of AIDS, and he's suing his company that he works for because they fired him because he has AIDS.
Wow.
And by the time, no spoilers for the movie, but he knows that whatever happens in this trial, he's not going to see the outcome.
Yeah.
This is what he's choosing to do with the remaining days he has.
Jeez.
So John Leguizamo turns that down to do Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how good the script was.
Yeah.
In order to secure the funding, the producers then had to go to all of the bigger studios in town. And they make all the rounds to get their money. So now all of these large studios have a piece of say in the script. And they immediately start to demand changes to the script. Now, this original film was very dark. It was kind of like a Nietzsche road trip movie for an older Mario and a younger Luigi who's going to grow up over the course of this. And they're like transported to this dark dystopian world. And it's kind of like a dark Ghostbusters-esque comedy.
Okay.
A dark comedy. And Nintendo loved that. And everybody who read it loved that. And they weren't just trying to do the game. And then, all of the producers who were giving them, the big studios, wanted a kids movie.
Yeah.
And they kept demanding script changes and rewrites, literally some of them while they were filming. And finally, they make their way to Buena Vista, which demands a kid-friendly PG movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already started filming at this point. The result was literally a script that was cut and taped together that didn't remotely resemble the film the actors had signed onto and didn't match the sets that were already built.
Yeah.
This story culminates with Dennis Hopper, who plays Koopa, screaming at the directors for 3 hours because they had rewritten a scene minutes before he was supposed to read the lines, with 300 extras waiting behind a door that he was supposed to address.
Wow.
At one point, the actors mutinied. They were signed on for a 10-week shoot. And in week 15, the directors were essentially walked off the set and the actors finished the movie. And I think that really shows where the end of it just ends.
The movie does just end.
It just ends. There was supposed to be a massive
climax
final event that took place on the Brooklyn Bridge, and they did shoot elements of it, but it was very clear that it was going to be like a 20 or a 25-week shoot to do that.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't appear in the movie. And the actors essentially came up with their own ending, and you can see all of the different tones and elements in the movie. And I think it's just an interesting study in film and pop culture history. But it is...
and video game history.
And video game history.
Because I think, and I've said this before, and I will say it again, the biggest detriment to video game movies is they're not taken seriously.
Yes.
And
this is why.
This is why. This is why, but also it suffered from that the powers that be were already in that mindset of video games are for children. Video games are for kids.
Yes.
This movie needs to be for kids.
Yes.
Soon as you add that stipulation, as soon as you pigeonhole it, it falls apart. And then everything afterwards suffers.
Yes. Sketch, I think we need to take a short break for a note from our sponsors.
All right. We'll be right back.
Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch has been brought to you by I drank heavily through the production of this movie with Bob. I drank heavily through the production of this movie with Bob, courtesy of John Leguizamo. Now back to Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch.
And we're back. Nice to have sponsorship.
Yeah.
This episode.
You know, every once in a while.
I do always say, product over profit.
Product over profit.
Not bad getting a little profit, though.
That sweet, sweet Mario Brothers
Super
movie
Mario
money.
Brothers money, yeah. Speaking of money, Super Mario Brothers money, do you have any of our financial statistics for this movie?
Do you want to do that before scores?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
It's part of the history.
Super Mario Brothers had a budget of $48 million, which was a lot for 1993.
It's a lot for me right now.
Yes. And it grossed worldwide $20 million.
Okay, so not the hit that they were hoping for.
A huge financial loss.
Yeah.
This movie directly led to the end of many people's careers. Directors and producers and screenwriters. Some of the actors didn't recover for being in this movie for a very long time.
I felt like John Leguizamo had a uphill battle after this movie.
John Leguizamo had a huge uphill battle after this movie. He played the clown in Spawn very shortly after this.
Yeah.
He had a big uphill battle.
Yeah.
Also, Princess Daisy. Can't think of the actor's name there, but she had a uphill battle.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize her, so I don't know what else she's been in.
She has a very strong film and TV career now.
Good.
But that's like 25 years later.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That she bounced back.
Yeah.
It also opened up against, literally, didn't it open
It opened against Jurassic Park and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, directly,
yes.
Say opening weekend or opening time.
One of the things that we talked about off mic is the look of this movie. You can say what you want about the special effects. Some of the things they were doing were very revolutionary for their time. They don't hold up well at all. But that aside, just the way the movie is filmed looks like it was filmed on my parents' Minolta Super 8 camera that I used to make movies with in 1993. And when I say movies, air quotes right now, it makes for great audio, like me filming things in the backyard with a home film camera.
Yeah, neighbors, right? You
Yes.
were pointing in windows and such.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. I've seen some of those videos. It's great work.
No, so as children do, like who aspire to work in film and TV and like put things together in film, like home movies. They look like home movies. This movie
looks like a home movie
when you watch it. Like immediately when it came on, I was shocked.
But we have to stress that wasn't their gimmick. That wasn't their shtick.
Oh no,
that wasn't on purpose.
No.
We also watched on YouTube.
I don't think that hurt it. However,
no, I think it helped.
I think that
because
helped it.
Every time it moved to a new video in the 11 series, you got like just a second of a blip, and you're like,
is it
through
over?
more of it? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
Another 10 minutes down.
Yeah, that felt great. Let's get into scores.
Sure.
All important internet scores. First,
all important internet scores. This might be, I think this is the lowest reviewed movie we've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
What else have we done that was low, though?
Answer the Call.
Answer the Call was very low. Yes.
Justice League was very low.
Justice League got low reviews. How did Green Lantern do? I don't remember.
Green Lantern, very low.
Very low. Okay.
Yeah. Let me go back and look at Green Lantern. What did Green Lantern get? Just out of curiosity.
Just to put things into perspective.
Yeah. It's important to have perspective.
Yeah.
Green Lantern. Yeah, this is much lower than Green Lantern.
Oh, okay. Give me give me the Rotten Tomatoes for Green Lantern.
26.
That's and this is much lower.
Yeah. Okay. The all important internet scores. IMDb 4 out of 10.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes 14% critic score.
I do think that's our lowest.
28% fan score.
Wow.
Metacritic did not bother to review it. They just listed as one of the worst examples of video games in movies ever. 55% of Google reviewers like this movie.
That's the lowest
That
Google
is the
review
lowest
we've ever had.
Google reviewer score ever.
Wow.
There's something about this movie that I love.
Yeah, you gave it a perfect.
I did not give it a perfect. I gave it a 50.
Well, that's fair. You're being fair.
I think I only gave Civil War like a 63.
Yeah, it's close to Civil War for you.
Yeah. I would watch this again as often as I would watch Civil War again.
I don't usually go lower than you, but I'm lower than you on this one.
I don't think you've ever been lower than me.
I don't have the thing that you do where you're like, there's something about this I like. I'm like, no. It feels like a fever dream to me. It feels like really I'm sick, and I don't like that. So I gave it a 40. I gave it a 40%.
You're not too much lower than me.
I'm not too much lower than you.
For you feeling sick in a fever dream, gave it a 40. Yeah, and me loving it, I gave it a 50.
There are things in it that merit talking about and celebration, which we'll get to in just a second. And I think I gave Answer the Call a 40.
I do believe you did.
And I would put this like right at that.
Yeah.
For
but
different
Answer
reasons.
The Call without any of the drama of making this movie.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Feig was not like removed from the set by his actors.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that would have helped.
But, maybe, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Should we transition to rants and raves?
You all just don't want to see the Mario Brothers depicted by a Latino man.
No, I think that's fucking hilarious.
I think it's amazing. Yes. John Leguizamo at the time said, Italian men are notorious for portraying Latinos on screen, and he was very excited to take one back. Yeah. And have a Latino man portray an Italian.
And see, he didn't go to Twitter defending his movie, saying you guys just hate seeing it.
To be fair, Twitter was still over a decade away from coming on the scene.
Well, back then, celebrities were tying little notes to birds and flying them into cities to be read. That's where Twitter came from.
That's where it, okay.
And John Leguizamo did not do that.
Was Larry John Leguizamo's pet bird?
Was Larry?
Larry's the Twitter logo.
Oh, is that it?
It's the name of the bird.
I think we're going to establish that in lore now.
That's canon.
That is
official.
Canon. That's where tweeting began.
Yes.
And John Leguizamo did not tweet it out.
He didn't.
He recognized it. He was like, you know what? I think I made a career bad decision.
Bad choice on my part.
And I'll just fess up to that. Anyway, this is not the Answer the Call episode. We give Answer the Call way too much attention.
Yes.
More than it was given in production. Shall we move into, you know what? Let's flip it on this one. Let's flip it.
Okay.
Let's start with rants.
Okay.
And then let's end with raves, because this is a movie that gets a lot of hate.
Sure.
But there, and believe me, I'm down there. I'm at the 40. But there are good things to say, and I don't want our long-term listeners to leave on a rant. I want them to leave on a positive note.
Can I start?
Yeah, please do.
All of the driving in the Dino Hatton.
Yeah.
Koopa, like the split mirror world.
Yeah.
Because that's such a large part of any Mario Brothers story is driving.
Yes. This was long before Mario Kart. I would understand if Mario Kart had been out.
Yes.
That this would make sense.
Like, did this inspire Mario Kart?
I don't
Possibly.
think so. I think this inspired a lot of drinking problems. And a lot of hard
therapy
looks in the mirror.
Part of hardcore gamers.
Yep. I don't think it had anything to do with any future games.
I will agree with you. But so all of the driving, I don't know who thought that was a good idea. And you can tell that that was an original component of the script because they had to build the cars were electricity powered. They were like bumper cars.
Yeah,
they had wires that hung off the back and that were connected to a like chicken wire grid on top that they gained power from.
Yep. And they were not just background scenery.
They were featured very heavily.
They were, and
they looked cool.
They did. They and that's the rant there.
Yeah.
They put a lot of effort into those, and they put probably some budget into those.
Yeah.
And no.
Nope.
Put that elsewhere.
Yes.
Put that somewhere else, because I wrote down they were gross, uninteresting, and just not Mario.
Yeah.
It was just strange. It was just very strange.
A rant is anything that takes you out of the universe.
Yeah.
And there are other things that I could forgive that are also not a part of Mario but didn't take me out of the universe in the way that all of the it was so heavily, even in the in our world.
Yeah, there's
with their like delivery plumbing van.
Yep.
Constantly breaking down because
Yep.
that's such a big part of the Mario Brothers story.
Yeah.
And maybe that was like trying to go back to this idea of like a Ghostbusters-esque where they needed their Ecto-1.
Yeah, they needed their vehicle.
They needed their iconic vehicle.
Yeah.
Put some of those like flashy driving car things into that.
I bet
make that somehow show up in their universe.
I vaguely remember the toys of this movie. I didn't have any of the toys.
Was one of them the van?
I don't know if the van was, but I bet those
the cars
were.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, the
long-time
90s,
listeners, if you had any of these toys, because I remember them and they were actually pretty advanced because Nintendo was getting the money from them. They looked really good. If you had any of those, write into the show and tell us about them.
Yeah. Because remember, the 90s was like the time that like
everything had a toy.
Everything had a toy, and then every toy had a vehicle.
Yes.
You know? Like the Ninja
That was
Turtles
one of the things in the Gargoyles
vehicles.
episode.
The Gargoyles
Disney
started out with a lot of
requesting a lot of
Yep.
gargoyle-themed vehicles.
I mean, I collected all the Jurassic Park figurines, including all the vehicles. I think there was a lot of money in the vehicles.
Biker Mice from Mars was like a show just constructed around
vehicles,
multiple vehicles. Or what really comes to mind is Batman and Robin, where they had multiple like vehicles, and instead of just like making kits that clip together, like the Batmobile with the ice stabilizers, the Batmobile with the ice stabilizers in silver.
Yep.
Like merchandising was the most important aspect of any movie in the 90s.
Those, what you were just describing is like, for our long-term listeners that are younger than that, to remember that, think of your favorite video game that you play online and unlocking skins.
Yes.
And paying for skins. We paid for skins physically.
Yes.
There were physical skins that we had to buy.
Yes.
And I didn't. I personally didn't.
Yeah. I didn't have any of these.
But
I had a lot of like merchandise related toys, posters for other franchises.
Oh, me too.
I don't have any for this.
I collected the shit out of Jurassic Park, like I said.
Yep.
Which, if you remember our Jurassic Park episode, I left the theater in fear. So I was collecting everything because I just love dinosaurs.
I had the puppet that when you opened the mouth, it roared.
Yeah, the raptor?
I had the Tyrannosaurus.
Oh, I had the raptor.
Together, we could make a pretty damn interesting fan film.
Yes, we seriously could.
You still have that?
With Blue and Josephina.
Yeah.
I'm sure I do somewhere, yeah. Actually, fun. I know exactly where it is, so yes, I do.
Coming to you, Patreon exclusive web series of Blue and Josephina.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah, we should.
Dead serious, I want to do it.
I hope I can find Josephina.
I'll look for not Blue. I also had so many of the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
And there were so many Ninja Turtle figurines that, like, I couldn't.
Guys, there's not much to talk about with Mario. You might have noticed here.
Yeah, but I had the blimp. Do you remember the Ninja Turtle
Yes,
blimp?
I had the blimp.
I loved the blimp.
I loved the blimp. That's like the one thing of Ninja Turtles that I had that didn't survive. It was very fragile because you like had the inflatable blimp had a small plastic piece that clicked into the plastic glider part of it that you sat on that dropped the bombs, and that part was notorious for breaking.
Oh, mine lived.
It's the one thing that didn't survive.
I took care of my toys.
Of mine. I took care of a lot of my toys.
I'm sure.
Enough to sell my Ninja Turtles for lots of money. I kept like the core figures, the original, but I sold the van, the sewer set, everything else when the Michael Bay movies came out.
Oh, did you make good bank?
I did. I really did. It's all gone now.
Damn it.
Put it into the pod.
Should have done that. All right, my next rant.
God, guys, not cheap to produce this show.
I don't think you'll agree with this rant, but it's a rant from me. The grungy, dirty city setting.
Yeah, strong disagree.
I said it was gross, uninteresting, and not Mario.
Oh, see, I was so interested by that.
No,
that's a rave of mine.
I figured it was, but I did not care for it.
I loved it.
I wanted color. I got no color.
What? Okay, all right. I'm going to save it for my rave and talk about it.
No. I wanted. Yeah, there were colors there, but I wanted like pure hues. I wanted nice, bright colors, not neon signs and grunge and fungus and all that stuff. And you told me after the movie, which I can't count towards the movie, like the lore of the city, and where it comes from, and I like that lore. Yeah. It wasn't in the movie though, so I wasn't. I can't,
guys. So
count
at the beginning, just what Sketch is talking about, the movie is supposed to open. We get a scene where a woman is running in the night. She leaves her baby on a doorstep. It's an egg. Spoilers, it is Princess Daisy as a baby. And when she hatches and is born, there's a shard of a meteorite. And in the lore of this movie, a meteor crashed in Mesozoic times. Mesozoic?
Well, there's a Triceratops and an Apatosaurus. They would not have lived together.
Okay. The history's
a rant is anything that takes me out of the movie. An Apatosaurus and a Triceratops would not live together.
They should not live together. A meteor strikes Earth.
Yep.
And the dinosaurs weren't killed.
Yeah.
It opened a hole in space-time, and like the dinosaurs live on one side of this door, and the humans live on the other side of the door, and they evolve separately.
You know how I pictured it, and I'm going to do it with my hands, which makes great audio. But I'm picturing the Earth.
Is a circle.
Is a big globe, right? And then the meteor comes in, boom, hits the Earth, and the meteor has some sort of property in it, right? And it just pushes, it nudges the Earth, but only like one phase of the Earth, just slightly
out of sync.
And so they're overlapped, but out of plane.
They're out of phase with each other.
So there's intersection points, but they're two separate Earths.
That's great.
And that's how I pictured it. Was that explained in the movie?
Not at all.
No. That's just me wrapping my head around it.
So when this happens, when Princess Daisy is born, there's a piece of the meteorite with her.
Yep.
And it opens a glimpse, and Koopa sees New York.
Yep.
And Manhattan. And
starts
sees
spreading the news.
And his mind is just blown.
Yeah.
And he seeks to recreate that in his universe, and he builds Dino Hatton.
And I wish they'd said it in the movie because I like that name.
Right?
Manhattan, Dino
Now,
Hatton.
through multiple script edits, instead, what we get is the movie opens on a still image of a picture of a rain somewhere in South America.
Yep.
And it's like illustrated over.
Yeah.
And then we get this poorly animated Apatosaurus and Triceratops.
Eating stuff and
talking.
And when we say poorly animated, it
looks like a first grader drew this. It really does.
It looks a little better. What a first grader can do, it looks a little better than this.
I was going to say, are you giving praise to the movie?
No, I'm not. It reminded me completely of, I went to elementary school in the 90s, and we would have like educational computer games that we could play with this level of animation.
Sticky Bear.
Sure.
Do you remember Sticky Bear?
I don't remember Sticky Bear.
It looked very much like that.
Yeah, I remember like Math Blasters and
you know what it looks like? Do you remember watching like Llamas with Hats and Charlie the Unicorn?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that. Like llamas, they look better, but this is like in that vein.
And all that moves are their mouths.
Yes. Nothing else moves.
Nothing else moves.
Still images.
So we're already starting in a rough spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so the dinosaurs evolve and they turn into humans.
Right.
And on the other plane,
Dino sapiens.
And on the other plane, humans evolve into Homo sapiens.
Yes.
And we live separate from each other, but Koopa always remembers and wants to take over. He has taken over Dino Hatton.
Yes.
And he wants to take over our world as well.
So if you imagine this grungy dystopian world that we're seeing, this is like if like the villain in The Road Warrior would be like able to see New York City in its heyday and trying to recreate it out of like cement and rebar and like just rubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, and it does look like if you could see New York in the 1970s in like a cocaine induced fever dream.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get fever dreams from cocaine? Peyote induced fever dream?
The last time I did, no fever dream.
No fever dream.
No.
Long-time listeners, write into the show if you can get fever dreams from cocaine.
Yeah, sure.
Put that knowledge to use.
I would have been better with the city if it wasn't basically the sole set. If it wasn't the only place they were in. And I think it wasn't going to, based on what you said the movie was going to be. I think it was just going to be one of the, quote, worlds, one of the lands that they go to.
Sure, yeah.
But in this movie, with the way it was stripped down, all we got was movie and desert.
I think Dino Hatton was like one of multiple
and then I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
But it was like too much for me. It was too much for my visual palette for that length of time. My phasing thing also makes sense because after the meteor hit, if it knocked I'm doing it with my hands.
It makes for great audio, long-time listeners. Wait, I'm going to take a picture of Sketch's hands.
Okay.
And we'll so you can
see this.
Yep, there we go. It makes for a great audio. It really is a great visual. Yeah. I'm just going to like move over here so it kind of looks like they're lined up, and now you can see they're not.
See. Yeah, no, they're not lined up. But
you're welcome, long-time listeners.
Everything else. So there's this one little place where the Dino world still intersects with our world.
It's close enough.
Yeah, so that things can still live there, but the entire rest of the planet is desert.
Yes.
We see that on the globe. The entire rest of the planet has been wiped out.
Right.
So that holds up with my theory of the separate planes, being knocked off of orbit, probably.
Yes.
And being that close to the sun, it scorched everything off. I'm thinking about this world way more than they ended up thinking about.
There's a really cool premise there.
There is.
Do you have another rant?
Give it to us. I just have the big overarching that it was a big mess. The left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing
ever, and it was
disjointed and it was confusing. I mean, I spent way too long thinking about what, wait, why, wait, what's this? Like, it felt like every 3 to 5 minutes, my brain was taking a hard stop, trying to wrap it around something and then move forward. I couldn't get into the story. I couldn't be drawn into the story. And I think, like you discovered, it was just all the cooks in the kitchen.
Sure.
And it didn't work.
I have a specific rant.
Okay.
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
That's a rant?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you're going to do like an older Mario and a younger Luigi, like Bob Hoskins is like old enough to be Leguizamo's father.
Okay, so you're talking the casting choice.
Like I think they're both great.
Yeah.
But like you could have Hoskins, but you can't use Leguizamo.
Yeah.
He's too young.
Yeah.
He's too new and naive and alive with wonder. You need someone a little closer to Hoskins' age. And
sure.
I like John Leguizamo. He's earnest and charming, and but not pretentious. He's funny and knows it, but is not arrogant.
Yeah,
and I think he was great. But I think Bob Hoskins fit the image of
Bob
Mario
Hoskins was
better.
Definitely chosen based on image.
He looks like Mario.
He plays the part.
Yeah. And I think you said this at one point. If we have audio of this, we'll cut it in here.
And I was right.
Yeah.
Unless we didn't have audio and we left that blank.
Bob Hoskins is he Luigi's dad or is he his older brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's
was too much of an age
unbelievable
gap.
to think that they're, especially if they seem to, Luigi doesn't know his parents. I guess they don't mention if Mario knows his parents or not.
Well, they do.
They say that Mario has raised Luigi.
Yes, the connection for Daisy and Luigi is that they're both orphans.
Yes.
Neither one of them knew their parents.
Yes.
So I mean, it's implied without ever saying it that Luigi is not Mario's biological brother.
Yeah. It's possible.
Which was fine. They just needed someone a little older.
Or, well, you can't do this because it's the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Don't have them brothers, but you have to because it's Mario Brothers. Yeah. No, I agree. Do you
have another rant?
I mean, I don't. I mean, it was a big mess. But I have good things to say that I'd like to say.
Should we transition?
Because I think this is a movie that, like, you'll find better rants out there than what I could say.
Okay.
I think there's plenty of rants about this movie.
Sure.
And they're well-deserved.
Yes.
But I think people can put them better than I can.
Okay. So let's transition to raves.
Let's do some raves.
Great. Do you want to give your first rave?
Okay. Bob Hoskins. And to a lesser extent, John Leguizamo.
Yeah. They're great. And they do a lot of scenery chewing.
And they are both. I think Bob Hoskins is
a little bit better in this regard.
I think it shows his experience a little bit more.
Bob Hoskins was very clearly the team captain that everybody looked up to and like rallied the troops.
And both of them are giving 110%.
Yes. But Bob Hoskins more so because he very easily could have quit and walked away.
Yeah.
And some kind of professionalism in him said, I have to
finish this out,
pull twice as hard and finish this out and try and turn something in.
Yep.
And he fully committed to this.
There is no point in this movie where you go, oh, this is where he gave up. This is where he checked out.
Not once.
He is in it 100% from start to finish. But you can't knock them. You can't knock either of them for their performance. You can knock it for the lines they had to deliver, but they didn't write those lines.
They didn't.
No.
Well, interestingly enough, Fisher Stevens, who plays one of the Koopa cousins, very early on in their filming, like when they were tailing Daisy, they were like, these lines are terrible.
Yeah.
And suggested to the directors, like, just let us say our own lines. Let's say whatever we want.
Yeah.
And they were happy to because they were looking for anything that would make the movie better. So they had a lot of fun on this movie because they came up with like that they would be stupid at first and then they would become very smart.
So they came up with that?
They came up with that.
Because I like that.
I liked that too. I thought it was very good. And I liked the way once they were smart, I liked their back and forth. And like once they were intelligent, they realized that like
how bad Koopa was for the society.
Yeah, we are very much on your side, Prince. And this is your father. And now
goodbye.
Please fix this.
Yes.
Goodbye. And we never see them again.
In the after credit scene.
We don't see them again until the after credit scene, which most people never saw because they like left the theater in disgust.
Yeah, or carted out on a hospital journey because they've vomited themselves to near death.
So much yak vomit.
The yak. Can you tell that we recorded The Mummy before we recorded Mario Brothers?
I would I could talk about The Mummy and how much I love it so much more easily.
You want to fill the rest of this Mario episode?
We could. I mean...
No, we need to say more good things about the movie. So,
Bob Hoskins, all of the actors committing to this. Even Dennis Hopper, who hated everything about this movie.
I think it benefited that he was the villain.
He did, yes, very much so. But he also didn't quit.
No. But I do feel like he started putting his frustrations into his role.
Yes, very much so, and it worked because he was the villain.
I think that
was his inspiration when he was being villainous.
I think he would have had a tricky time if he was a hero.
Yes. Oh, strong agree.
Yeah. And Daisy, she wasn't in it much.
No.
But she was absolutely fine.
Yes.
Like I wasn't there was no actor in this movie that I was like, oh, this person does not belong.
In a similar vein to Answer the Call, I can't fault the actors for this.
No.
They gave it 100 and they gave it like 250%.
Yeah. Yep. They really did.
Really, beginning to end.
Yep. Do you have another rave?
I love the grungy, dirty city dystopia.
And this is like, all you.
It's like it's dystopia. It's the worst, but like best elements of like 1970s, 80s New York.
Mm-hmm.
I love the multi-level aspect of the city. Like clearly the Brooklyn Bridge made some kind of impact on Koopa and all like the different levels. Like the way the city was constructed.
Sure.
In which like you didn't drive on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You drove in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were markets below and like the really like downtrodden, and like Koopa lived in the upper echelons and like the people of power, and you drove through the middle.
Yeah.
Was the driving level.
Yep.
It was so creative. It's so different. I do always say, give me something new and I'm all in.
All in. Yeah.
I've never seen this replicated, probably for good reason, but there's a great aesthetic there that really worked. I loved all of like the grungy, like neon signs, like a off kilter, out of phase, like Art Deco almost, like if maybe grunge deco.
Sure.
If I could trademark copyright that.
Go for it. It's all yours.
I love the look of it, and like all of the like the leather that like that was like the motif, like the look of like this kind of like cyberpunk, but without the technology aspect. There was like in the early 90s, there was like, now we have steampunk.
Yeah.
In the 90s, we had cyberpunk.
Yes, we did.
Where everything was like digitized, day-low. Like
just think of the wardrobe of a lot of the punk ass kids in Batman Beyond.
Yes. Yeah, they are cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's something that was ever allowed to breathe and like find its most evolved form. And I love seeing that and what it could have been. The way the Goombas were all dressed.
I liked the Goombas.
They were not the Goombas of the game. I thought it was really smart.
But I liked the look of these Goombas. They were
well designed.
They were both fun and
terrifying.
And
I love that they just like to dance.
And they like to dance.
Everybody likes to dance.
And I couldn't fault the Goombas. I mean, I think as a kid I did, because I was like, those aren't the Goombas I'm used to. But they filled the role well.
Yeah, they did.
They filled the role well. To your point about the city, and if there was planning involved, then here's where it came out. I mean, it makes sense why it's a layered city and not a spread out city, because it's the only habitable place on this globe. So all they can do is keep going up. It's probably the first instance of a city like that I can think of. But I mean, not long after that movie, I can't help but think of like Fifth Element, which does a layered city, and a little more diverse
and a similar design aesthetic to the cars.
Yes.
And
that's what I'm saying. Like
it
seems like that kind of cyberpunk motif lived on
in Fifth Element. Sure. I could agree to that. Yeah. So I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
I've seen some things do it since, and I think there was a great story there that I think they had to cut a lot of that story because the script that they were left with after everybody put their fingers in the pie no longer matched those sets that they used.
Gross.
A lot of the movie takes place in hallways.
Yes, it does.
Which look like environments from the game.
There were a lot of like,
and a lot of the characters.
The castle hallways do look like
in Mario 3 in particular. You did play Mario 3 because that you wouldn't know where the...
No, they reminded me of the big blocks that dropped, the big spiky blocks that dropped.
Yeah, that's in Mario 3.
It's also in Mario 1. Just so you know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Always the there was always like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and then like 1-4 was like the castle.
Yeah.
Where you had to save the princess. In the castle, the blocks would drop.
Oh, okay.
Spiky blocks.
Well, yeah.
And they were reminiscent of that.
Okay.
But every once in a while, you'd have a scene in a room or in a building,
Yes.
and it was dressed, and then like a door would be open, and I felt like what was beyond the door wasn't dressed, and I always like
it was
just
that
felt
cement
like
dystopian.
I was just
What's behind that door?
Yeah.
No, don't pan that way.
yeah. Please don't pan that way. So we're just gonna disagree on that city.
Sure.
I would have been, like I said, I would have been so much better with that city if I had a variety of locations to see.
Great. Let's move on. What's your
Let's
next
move
rave?
Let's see. I'm looking down at my rants because I'm used to that. I was legitimately surprised when we rewatched it that there were so many actual callouts to the game.
Yeah.
Because I completely missed them as a child.
Yep.
Because they're not in your face.
It's not overt. In your face.
The bomb is in your face.
Yes.
And
but I like the way they approached them. They weren't just
I
like
also
bombs
liked the
walking
way,
around the city.
they approached them. And the way that mushrooms were incorporated.
Yep.
Those I got as a kid, but like when the Goombas are dancing,
Yes.
the music, I never picked up that was the music from 1-3 and,
Right.
and other similar levels. And the flamethrowers being the fire
flowers. Yep.
And there were far more nods to the game than I gave the movie credit for.
I'll piggyback onto that. I really love the way they incorporated Mario's ability to jump
With boots?
with the boots,
Yeah.
the boost boots.
Yeah.
And they were powered by cartridges that looked like Bullet Bill.
Bullet bills, yeah.
And
Made sense.
It made a lot of sense. There were so many nods to the game without just doing the game.
Yeah, because it felt so separate from the game. That's what surprised me. That like, oh, someone involved actually has played the game and knows things. And as a kid, I didn't get that.
I thought it was so smart the way they worked game elements into the movie.
Yeah, they did.
Artfully in a new way without just doing the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
And
I agree with you.
right down to using they used the super scopes were all the weapons.
Yeah.
Every
they
weapon
used
in the
Nintendo.
was either a blaster from NES dressed up or a super scope dressed up.
Yep.
Where I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And I also loved
I was
the
on board with
reveal.
that.
The reveal of them in their game
suits.
their
Their
suits
game outfits were completely fine.
looked great.
No issue with the game outfits.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
Like that, the overall aspect,
Mhm.
they were overalls, and the color scheme made them look like they were wearing
They're
Oshkosh Bagosh
yeah.
overalls.
Yep.
But it was like a jumpsuit.
I was 100% fine with their costuming.
Yes.
Yep.
And I loved that.
I do wish with all these call-outs to the game, there are two things I wish were in it
Okay.
from the game that I thought were important in the game that didn't make it in, and that is breaking bricks.
Yeah.
I think that would have just been an easy one to just like,
Yep.
Mario, leans against
Right.
a wall and
And
it just crumbles under him. He's
Yeah.
like, I better not touch anything else,
Right.
because, and the turtle creatures, which in
Yes.
the game are called Koopas, and we had dinosaurs,
Right.
and we had mushrooms.
I think they were trying to do I think this iteration of the Goombas were a
a hybrid.
of the turtles and the Goombas from the game.
Sure.
Because their heads were all like reptilian.
Reptilian, yeah. But their body had a very mushroomy shape.
Yeah.
That's just what I wanted.
Yeah, you did say that repeatedly. I wish the turtles were in it.
Or even just this. One of the two brothers steps on something and kills it.
Sure.
And I'm not even talking about doing a big old jump and landing on
Right.
something. They just
which they could have done with
which
those
they could have
boost
done with the
boots.
boots, but just step on something and it dies. It's something that you wouldn't expect to die, like something really big and powerful,
Right.
and they step on its tail and it.
Right.
There's a little just a little nod like that.
Do you have a...
I have another.
that was your rave that I stole.
Yeah, that was my.
Another thing that I really loved about this movie was that there was real humor in it.
Mhm.
That you could they either had to cut the scenes or redress them, and it's like a dark humor.
Mhm.
There was situational comedy in here that didn't survive on the script because they kept on trying to write in funny kid jokes.
Yeah.
But when they are finally captured by the police,
Mhm.
they get arrested for being plumbers.
Yes, they do.
And that's hilarious.
Mhm.
We didn't do it. We're I'm getting arrested for being a plumber.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? They go to the police station, and like the police officer that they meet is just like, he's the most like effective and efficient of all of Koopa's henchmen.
Yeah.
And he's just some like random desk cop.
I think I said it during the movie, but he was like one of the most effective henchmen I've seen in any movie.
In any.
He's given a job and does the job within minutes. That was a fun scene though with name Mario.
Yes.
Last name Mario. Mario.
Yeah.
And this is my brother Luigi Mario. Wait, how many Marios are there?
Right.
There's 3 Marios. Mario, and Luigi Mario. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. I was having fun with that.
Right. And when they're getting their mugshots taken.
Yeah. And it's like sniper rifles. They're about to
with
kill.
laser sights.
Yep.
It just legitimate, like, funny, like Mario's girlfriend when she Diane, I think her name was.
Yeah.
And we were just like, there is no way on God's green earth that man is with that woman.
But you know what?
But they were perfect for each other.
They were perfect. You know what it is? He's confident and he's suave.
It's exactly what it is.
And he turned the spiky lady, Bertha.
Yep.
He turned her into an ally, and even got a little smoochum from her
yes, he did.
too. I mean,
he was so confident and suave. Yep.
And that's what Luigi
appealing.
looked up to.
Yes.
Luigi couldn't see how attractive he was because he was comparing himself to confident, suave Mario. Yeah.
And that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Without being like in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot what the joke was about, like the when they were like actually doing plumbing in the sewer.
Yeah.
There was like a funny joke.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember it because it wasn't funny.
But that brings me on to Max Brave.
Great.
We actually saw them plumb. They were actually plumbing.
They were actually plumbers.
And
they were actually working on. And they used it repeatedly.
And they used it when they went into Dino World.
Yes.
I mean, especially Mario. Like, they were legitimately solving problems with plumbing. And that never happens in the game.
Never.
They just happen to be plumbers, and now they're heroes. But
yes,
in this movie,
they could not have escaped the world. They could not have accomplished their mission if Mario was not such a skilled plumber. And that features so heavily in the script.
It comes out a lot.
Yes.
And that's probably my biggest rave.
Yeah.
Other than Bob, because Bob just brought it, and I was just happy for him.
He really did.
But the fact that they actually worked into the plot that these two are plumbers.
Yes.
And they're going to use it to save the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
It was.
Yeah.
A big rave.
Not enough to bump me past a 40, but it was refreshing to see nonetheless.
Do you have any more raves?
I do not have any more raves.
I will just say for my final rave, there is something about this movie. I can't even put my finger on it that visually appeals to me. I don't know what it is. Whether it's the color scheme and the way it turns you off, it like appeals to me. I don't know. I can't even visualize, but there's something like I have an affinity for this movie, and I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
So evidently, like the actors or the writers in enough of their original script that survived, I don't even know. Like it has a warm fuzzy spot in my heart that I would rewatch this movie again.
Well, you said there's like a cult following, and it sounds like you belong in this cult.
I guess I'm part of that cult. I'm in the right place. I'm with the right.
No, I do not.
In the right company.
I do not care for this color scheme and this motif. I do not care for it, sir. And no, it's just depressing to me. It's depressing. I don't want to be depressed in a video game movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's just bleh. That's what I would call this motif.
Okay.
A big pile of goo. Primordial goo.
There's a lot of primordial goo in this movie.
There's a lot of goo in this movie. The king is coated in goo all the time. Koopa turns into goo.
Yes, he is.
When Toad is first turned into the Goomba.
The Goomba, yes.
There's a big puddle of goo underneath him, as if he
lost some brain matter.
And it just spread out all underneath him. There's a lot of goo in this movie. But that's the 90s. That was like Nickelodeon's big sliming era. So kids like goo.
Right.
You know? Kids like goo. Kids like goo, Geeking Out with Shays and Sketch. Do you have, that's a shirt.
It is.
Any
big-
other raves before we move on to our
I'm ready for big Qs.
BQs. We say BQ so many times.
Would this be a good time for another note from our sponsors?
As long as they don't flake on us this time.
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back.
Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch has been brought to you by We all got so high when making this movie. We all got so high while making this movie. The cast of the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now back to Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch.
And
we're back.
Welcome back.
Big Qs.
Big
Try and give you some big A's.
You got some big A's for my BQs?
I'm going to try.
Do you have any BQs?
I have a few.
Okay. I got one. Okay, the lady. You know the lady? Koopa's mistress or wife or...
Aunt Pettigrew from Harry Potter.
Yeah. Do you remember her name in this?
I do not.
Let's call her Petty.
Sure.
When
she was very petty.
When Petty, for starters, we reacted loudly when we thought she was being electrocuted to death, and we were watching her be electrocuted to death. She didn't die, though.
No.
She lived on.
For a little while.
For a little while. She tries to insert the meteorite shard into the meteor.
Does not go well for her.
Backfires on her, slams her up against a wall, and all that she's left is a skeleton impacted
into the wall.
So my
Which
question
they
is,
repeatedly panned to.
Yes, I was happy they kept showing
I
up.
wonder if she was like the only like person who didn't like coalesce with the rest of the cast, and like that was their like FU moment.
Oh, they were like, fuck you.
She's the only person who died. She was the only
and
death.
Koopa died too.
Yeah. But like he was the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he had to die.
What there was no reason for her to die.
No.
And knowing that the cast mutinied and finished the movie.
Yeah. Here's my big question then. Does that deposit that the fossils found in New York are other dinosaur creatures that attempted to touch the meteor and were thrown against the ground? Because they're all like in impacts.
Impacted.
They're all like frozen in impacts.
I would say yes.
So those aren't natural fossils.
No.
Those are fossils from...
And they got shot through and impacted in the ground.
Yeah, because she missed. She missed the portal opening.
Yes.
Which is easy to miss because it looks just like the rest of the wall.
It just looks like the rest of the wall.
You got to know where to look. So those that they were discovering in
I really
Brooklyn,
wonder if those scenes were shot after, and it's just like, the portal's just right here in the wall.
Yeah. Could be. Could be. The portal in the wall...
They didn't go to the same spot all the time.
No, they didn't. The portal in the wall actually had the same kind of digital effect that the portraits did in Mario 64.
In Mario 64, yes.
Which obviously hadn't come out yet. So it's just interesting that they went that route.
They went that route.
But they did have to go down a pipe to get to the portal.
They did.
So, I'm going to give it to them on that.
Sure.
Do you have a BQ?
Sure. Why is the king returned to human form when Koopa is turned to goo?
There's no reason for that. I was expecting by the end of the movie that they were going to use the de-evolution guns, set them in reverse and bring them back.
Right? That would have just made sense.
Koopa dies, and it's almost like the curse is broken.
Right.
And the king comes back.
Which doesn't make any sense.
And it doesn't come. It
It's
doesn't
not
make
how
any
this universe
sense.
worked.
Nope.
I think it's another instance of the actors are just like, and now we're going to do this.
Yep.
That's done.
Kids
Check.
won't notice.
Kids won't notice.
Maybe in 20 years,
sure,
two schmucks in a studio are going to sit down and talk about this and give it more thought than we did.
Yes.
But right now we're safe.
But not us.
Yeah.
We're good for a little while.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. It was an easy fix,
Sure.
but it would have taken a little effort, so I get why
just
they
a
didn't
little
do it.
effort. Yeah. You got another.
He was also like powerful as the Fungus King because he was like
he was everywhere and
he was
leaving them
everything.
bob-ombs and he was very powerful.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I got a big question.
Sure.
Why do Dino Sapiens have boobs? That's our thing. That's mammals' thing.
Yeah.
We're named after boobs. We're literally, our class of species is named after boobs.
Yeah.
The mammary gland.
Right.
Those dinos,
Do not
especially
have
that
mammary
lady,
gland.
the main lady, they were...
Aunt Pettigrew.
Aunt
They were
Pettigrew.
front and center.
Front and center boobs.
Yes.
And I get
Yes.
that the actresses, obviously,
Sure,
had boobs. But maybe...
don't feature
Don't feature them so prominently.
Yeah. Don't put her in like a faux corset.
Yeah, such a push-up.
Yeah.
That, and she was, no, Berta did too.
Yes. All of the female Dino Sapiens.
Yeah, they were really...
all of the biologically female Dino Sapiens.
Yep.
were on
really,
display.
really showing them off.
Yeah.
But that's our thing. That's a mammal thing, guys.
Yes.
We're team mammal.
Right.
And I'm proud to say that because they shit all over us in this movie.
They really do. Yes. Dumb mammals.
Yes. And
they're far more advanced. They should have our world.
But they are copying our mammary glands. So
it doesn't make sense. Like even
that's cultural appropriation right there.
Please keep your real world out of my fake world.
That is Dino Sapiens encroaching on us.
Okay. The answer is, at the end of the day, there was a $48 million budget, and they did not have the money for costuming. They used it all on Tyrannosaurus Koopa.
Yeah.
Which actually...
It looked fine.
I wanted more of that. I wanted him to last... I wanted some kind of fight sequence.
They did make enough costuming, though, to push up the ladies.
They did?
Yeah, they did. It's fine. It's the 90s. Sure. We needed to see that because that's part of that city landscape.
Sure.
Like when you see that kind of dirty
Dino
grungy city,
yeah.
Like there was that strip club-ish place as well, and there were very scantily clad women in there too.
They were.
I wish, and I know it would have taken a little more effort on their part, but I wish there was just like slightly something lizardy that they maintained.
Sure.
Just something. I don't know what. A bulge of a tail or scales or something that
right,
because otherwise they just look completely human.
Sure.
Do you have any other big questions?
If you're going to do a Mario Brothers movie, why do a prequel?
Why do a prequel?
And I like that it's a prequel. I think it gives them a lot of outs.
I also like that as a prequel.
But it's difficult to do when your video game is so storyless. You know what I mean? So like video games of this era, if you don't read the booklet, you don't know the story.
No,
You're not going to get the story from playing the game.
I think a benefit to it being a prequel, and I don't know if this was the active decision they made, but we don't know anything about Mario and Luigi. We really know very little about them other than they're the heroes of this kingdom. Right. And they're from our world. So let's establish them a little bit in our world before they enter. I'm trying to think of like where else you could have put their story. And I think it was right. I think it was the right decision to start. I also
think it was the right decision.
Yeah.
But it's risky.
It is risky.
Because then you immediately... This is not Super Mario Brothers.
I much prefer the parts of the movie that took place in present day
Brooklyn. Yes.
To this
which
stuff
is
that took place
not a big part of the movie.
No, it is not. But I appreciated those. I appreciated those scenes.
Right.
I appreciated the plumbers on the wall, on the plungers on the wall, like
gun rack
rifles.
Plunger, yeah.
As plumbers do, I imagine.
Yeah. If there are any plumbers that are longtime listeners, write into the show. Send us some pictures of your plunger gun rack.
I wish the van had one, like a gun rack and a pickup truck. Like just keep that going. Yeah. Just keep that going.
Exactly. Or like crescent wrenches.
Yeah.
Or,
just plumbing tools.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it was a prequel, and I'm for it. A bigger question would be, where would they have gone from here?
Yeah,
if they could.
Big cliffhanger.
Daisy shows up at the end says,
with the flamethrower gun.
Yeah, and she's like, "I need your help, Mario Brothers." I'd call them the Super Mario Brothers. That was basically heard from from Parks and Recreation. So you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Just
all of the drains in the Mushroom Kingdom were backed up with residue of the fungus.
Yeah,
they just needed to clear the drains. It wasn't as big a deal as they thought.
It would have been neat. This is if I was making the sequel. It would have been neat if when she showed up, because she also had the bandolier.
Yes,
she had double bandoliers on.
Yep, they had bullet bills on them.
But what I think would have been so much funnier and so great for setting up for a sequel if they had like radishes. Because of what you
Mario
pick
2.
up into. Yep. And like she was ready for that.
Yep.
I would have been like, oh yeah.
I would have, yeah.
And then do something like that where you could bring in Birdo as a villain and
definitely.
And actually, Mario 2, there's a lot of desert in Mario 2.
Yes,
so it
there
actually
is.
would have
worked
really nicely.
perfectly.
But alas, we did not get a sequel, for better or worse.
Probably for the better.
Probably for the better. You already gave the numbers. Did anyone die in the theater? Just from like gouging out eyes or dehydration or
17 people.
Yeah,
It's the Mario Brothers massacre.
Yeah.
I have one more big cue.
Oh, okay.
So the end credit scene.
Yes.
It's probably one of the earliest end credit scenes.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it there.
Yeah. It is Fisher Stevens, the Koopa cousins.
The Koopa cousins, Spike and Izzy.
Yeah, Spike and Izzy are talking to
Game developers
from Japan.
Yep.
And we are led to believe that this is where the game came
Correct.
from.
Yes.
That this is Spike and Izzy telling the story of how these two crazy plumbers showed up in the Mushroom Kingdom and overthrew their cousin Bowser.
Yep.
And from this crazy freewheeling story that they tell, we get the very first Mario Brothers game. Why wasn't that Luigi and Mario? Wouldn't it have made more sense if it was Luigi and or like John Leguizamo explaining this to the game developers?
Absolutely.
Why make it Izzy and Spike?
It felt to me like it was way after the fact, and most of the actors had already left.
They couldn't get them.
Yeah.
Like Fisher Stevens was happy to be working and was still
and they were like, you know what, let's do this. And also, like you said, they kind of got to steer their own ship as far as their characters go. So they might have been like,
do you think they came up with it?
I wouldn't be surprised based on what you said. Or it also felt like it was supposed to be Mario and Luigi. They said, no, we're done. We did everything. And the two of them were like, our characters would do it. And that would give them some closure because they just disappeared. So now we know they made it over to our side.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Can't argue with that.
No. I have no more BQs.
All right. I also have no more BQs.
So that was Super
Mario
Brothers.
The movie.
The movie.
Not good.
Not good.
Would you recommend this to people?
I would not recommend this to people.
Okay.
I know some people like to watch bad movies for fun.
Yep.
And I do that from time to time, but this is not a movie I would pick to watch for fun.
That's fair.
This was not fun for me.
Okay.
Would you recommend it?
I would, because I feel like you're missing out on something of like pop culture.
I would recommend it as a study. As a study in pop culture.
I feel like you are missing out on something if you haven't. If you are listening to this show, if you are someone who watches cartoons, superhero movies, like science, if you are a lover of science fiction and video games, I do think you're missing out on something by not being part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah. I will agree with that part. So you should watch it like as research.
Yes.
I would not watch it for a good time.
And I'm thinking about it now. I might love this movie for the same reason that I loved The Room.
I never saw The Room, but why?
But did you see The Disaster Artist?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It's so bad. It's either like it's so bad. It's somehow like genius. Like somebody secured $50 million to make this movie.
Yeah.
They got Bob Hoskins. They got Dennis Hopper. They got John Leguizamo. They got Disney to distribute it. They got Nintendo to license the rights to Mario, which they have never licensed for a movie ever again. There was supposed to be another one to come out in 2018, and they decided to pull the plug on it while it was in development. It was very close to going into production. And now they're gun shy. So, I mean, there's something like mad scientist about like just the story of this movie and being a part of that. So yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay. There you go. I have one last big question.
Okay.
How do you think Dennis Hopper did as a villain?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I also love him in Waterworld as the villain.
I also love him in Waterworld. I want to do Waterworld so
I would love to do Waterworld.
I would really like to do Waterworld. Yeah, he was a good Koopa. He was...
Koopa is a menacingly large turtle-shelled dinosaur.
Yep. So they...
not a lot of character on the page.
Yeah.
In terms of motivate.
He's like the classic dragon.
He's a king.
Mhm.
He has orange hair.
Yep.
He's very big.
Mhm.
He spits fire.
Yep, not much you can do with that.
Not much you can do with that. So
no,
yeah,
he was fine. He was a good villain.
He had real motivations. He was the envy and the anger.
Mhm.
I believed it all. I thought he was very good.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought actually, I'll go as far as this to say, like, I don't know who else I would like maybe Jack Nicholson could have done something like similar in that vein, but he's already been the Joker at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, why is the Joker like being Koopa? Like I can't like say like, oh, you know who could have done it as well or better? Like,
yeah, I certainly can't because I don't know.
I think he
90s
was
actors
just
well
like maniacal and whimsical enough.
Yeah, I really think he was good. He was a
well.
good villain, and especially like for a kids movie, like he was a good kids movie villain. A little two-dimensional, but had to be for.
You know what I love about mud?
That was weird.
That you're getting clean and dirty at the same time.
And how are you getting clean? I don't understand that at all.
Because they don't have fresh water.
Yeah, I guess, but mud,
and there's dystopian
mud
word.
still seems to be dirtier than.
I mean, there was something just terrifying in the way, like in the look, like the deadness behind his eyes as he was saying that.
Yeah.
But not like deadness, dead in the eyes. Not I've given up.
Oh yeah, no.
Dead in the eye, like I've
serial killer. Dead in the eye. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I would totally believe. I was legitimately surprised, and I guess I shouldn't have been because this was a 90s kids movie. I was legitimately surprised that all those women from Brooklyn were alive.
Yeah. Yep.
I really thought they had been eaten.
Yes.
And so that they were just in a room. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yep, just hanging out, having girl time.
Yeah, I mean, with Koopa leading the pack and like there's like a food shortage.
Entirely plausible that they were just like
eaten,
quartered and eaten.
Yeah, they think so little of mammals. I mean, it would be it's like livestock.
Yeah. No reason that they should have been alive.
Yeah, other than it's kids movie.
What was the newspaper headline?
Missing Mrs. Still Mystery. I loved it.
That's great.
It was probably my favorite part of the movie.
Rewind that, and then the Reebok product placement under the bombs,
which is like the worst product placement.
It really was, but kudos to them for doing it.
Reebok gave them some money and was like, just put our
logo in there.
I
somewhere.
bet they wanted their logo on the rocket.
The rocket boots, yeah.
And they were like, no, but we'll put you on the babam.
Right.
But we'll put you on the bottom of the babam, and it will show up for a fraction of a second.
It was difficult. I missed it until you said, but rewind that.
Yep.
Because you're looking at it through a grate.
Yep.
On a very small prop.
Yep.
Good eyes.
I like how everyone was terrified of the babam.
Yes.
Like it turned into like a terrorist scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little babam, but it causes chaos.
Yep. And when it blows up, you see why.
Humorous.
Yeah.
Like it was a little time. It caused devastation on par with like any like terrorist act, like domestic or foreign terrorist act that we read about in the news.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and it was believable terror. It wasn't like cartoonish terror.
From the Dino Sapiens point of view, the Mario brothers were terrorists.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yep.
And that's a great place to go out on.
These plumbers.
And then the king's like, I love those plumbers. Okay, so the Mario Brothers.
It's a great note to go. We love those plumbers.
Yep, we love them.
Yep.
I guess
that brings us to Shades and Sketch Recommendations. We've been nailing that lately.
Thank you. I've been practicing in the shower, but it's all clogged now, so What do you want to recommend?
Why don't you recommend something first?
Okay, I'm going to recommend a game because this video game was this movie was based on a video game. I'm going to recommend a game I'm playing. I'm pretty addicted to it at the moment. It's called Sub Nautica. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
I have come to the realization that I think my favorite genre of gaming is survival.
Okay.
And
wow.
This game has
You did not used to like survival things.
No, but go with me on this.
Sure.
So my cousin actually recommended it to me, and I started reading reviews to see if I should get it, and it's been hallmarked as one of like this should now be the new standard of survival games.
Wow.
And it was on sale on Steam, so I was like, oh, I'll try it out. The premise,
you're on Steam?
Yeah, this is a computer game. So the premise of this, it's also on Xbox, but that doesn't help you.
It doesn't help me at all.
The premise of this game is that it takes place in the future. You are a human on a spacecraft.
You're not a Dino Sapien?
You are not a Dino Sapien. And
with you.
It opens with the ship is crashing onto a planet.
Okay.
And you jettison in a escape pod.
Rocking back and forth here.
Very
Makes
good.
for
Makes
great audio.
audio. You're jettisoned in an escape pod. Whoa. You're knocked unconscious, and when you come to,
that's my least favorite thing.
Your escape pod is floating in the ocean, and you get out. You can see in the distance the crashed ship, and you are all alone with only the resources that are on your escape pod. And it has some very rudimentary information about like making some survival gear. It has a fabricator. So like if you gather the correct materials, it can make survival gear for you. And the game is just about, exploring more of the world around you, gaining more and more materials to make better and better stuff. I've started making...
Oh, that is your favorite thing.
Yeah, I've started making an underwater base.
Do you play Minecraft?
I used to.
Okay,
I used to play Minecraft, yeah. I already made a little submarine. It's called the Seamoth, but you're allowed to rename it. So I renamed it the Stinger. Nice. And I have discovered the blueprints and how to make the Cyclops, which is the much bigger submarine. And I'm going to rename that the Sequest DSV because nice. It's a lot of fun. But that's going to take a lot of materials.
Long-time listeners, way to drop the ball on those blueprints.
I'm still waiting. So if you like Survivor games, if you like resource collection games like I do. Oh, and you're trying to solve the mystery of like why you crashed. There's also alien. There's no aliens on the planet, but there are old like alien ruins. So nice. You're learning a lot. Other than gathering information, you're learning a lot to try to get off this planet.
Nice.
And I have not gone off the planet yet. I feel like I've only scratched the surface. But if you like Survivor games and resource management and stuff like that, Sub Nautica for the PC or Xbox.
Cool. I am also going to recommend a video game.
Okay.
It's called Gang Beasts. It started on Steam for the beta, but has finally made its way to PlayStation 4. Mm-hmm. And it is just a multiplayer beat-em-up extravaganza, but it's like an incredibly low-tech game. And it's just I laugh hysterically while I'm playing this game. And my favorite thing to do is just cause mischief and mayhem. It's survival-based. You can play 1, 2, 3, or 4 players. You can play online or just like play waves and practice. And I don't even know how to explain it, but it is a control interface unlike any I've ever had before. You throw punches with your left and right triggers on the top of the device. You can hold and grab, and it's just a whimsical world, a beat 'em up. Extravaganza, and for one level takes place in a subway, and my favorite thing to do is just walk someone to the edge of the subway platform and throw them in front of a subway train.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And it's just a maniacal little game, a great way to laugh and have a good time. Mm-hmm. And when the game gets frustrating, I resort to just grabbing people and walking them off like the top of a blimp or the side of a building. It's hours of good fun to have with your friends. It's an independently developed game, and we got to support independent developers.
Oh, for sure.
And Gang Beasts.
I think it's just interesting. I think our longtime listeners, it's like a psychoanalysis.
Sure.
The game I recommended is about survival and making sure you can stay alive. And yours is causing as much chaos.
Yes, but
killing.
also making sure that you stay alive to the end of the round.
Yeah.
So it's the last person standing wins.
Yeah.
But in your world, is like finding resources and building things. Mine is
avoiding
causing
big creatures.
Yeah, is causing mischief and mayhem, and tripping and pushing and sacrificing all the people around you.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
Gang Beasts.
Gang Beasts. Sub Nautica for me. Those are our weekly
recommendations.
Shades, do you want to take anything with you from this experience at all?
I am going to take these jump boots and a copious supply of bullet bill capsules to put in them.
You'll need them, otherwise they're
useless.
I'm
going to have a lot
more weigh you down.
of fun with these boots.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sketch, you going to take anything?
Yeah, well, Shades, I'm happy to announce that we're adding another creature to our Sketches menagerie
We are.
of whatever I called it.
Discarded and or abandoned.
Abandoned
creatures, yeah.
geek creatures. I'm going to take Lasso from this movie because he was underused.
Yoshi was clutch. He took a high heel to the neck.
And, you know, he legit looked great. We didn't talk about him for the budget they had. His animatronics looked good.
The effects were, for the most part, impressive.
And
what they were able to do. Yeah, Yoshi looks great.
Yoshi deserves better. Yoshi will live with us here now
on the GOCO.
With Momo and Bronx.
Yep.
And I'm just happy to give him a better life.
Yeah.
His new forever home.
Great.
Yeah.
That does it for this installment of Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. Sketch, thanks for potting with me today.
Oh, of course.
And you can find us on your platform of choice if you kindly would leave us a rating and review.
So many platforms.
It really does make the difference in boosting the profile of an independent show like ours. I know the new trendy thing is not having to subscribe, but if you click that little button, it really does help us out and costs you nothing.
Ooh.
You can also find us on our Patreon, patreon.com/shadesansketch.
There you go.
And guys, we're just looking to cover the costs of producing the show.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue neutral. It would be great if doing the show that we love, that you love, because you're listening, didn't set us back financially.
That would just be great.
It would.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can...
And thank you already.
Yes, thank you so much to our subscribers that are already
That's really
supporting
awesome
the show.
of you, and it is greatly appreciated. So
yes.
thank you so much. You're making us geek out.
Yes.
In both ways. See?
Yes.
Because you're keeping the lights on?
Yes.
In the Geeking Out studio?
It takes a lot to power the GOCO.
And we're also just geeking out that
it does burn Fabergé eggs.
Someone likes what we do
enough. And truffle oil.
Sweet, sweet truffle oil.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can email us at gowithshadesandsketch@gmail.com.
You can tweet the show at Shades and Sketch.
Or
you can tweet me, Sketch, at Go for Sketch.
Or tweet me at Go for Shades.
Yeah. Tell us what you like. Are you Team Sketch in that the city was gross and you don't like it?
Or are you Team Shades? This was a dystopian wonderland.
I just can't. I can't even. I can't even. There's not even a joke to say there. It's just so gross.
I loved it.
Ugh. Anyway.
You can find us on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Facebook as well.
Just search Geeking Out, Shades and Sketch.
Ooh, this is going to be a fun piece of art to make for this episode, actually. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. You can find the art on Facebook or Twitter.
All over the place.
And
we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.